This is the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid Max, and it enters the three-row ring up against some very stiff competition in the shape of the Kia Telluride Hyundai Palisade twins. It's a completely new vehicle that's not just a stretched Highlander. In fact, it's considerably larger in every other dimension too. And so today I'm going to test it and see if it can deliver that knockout punch. So from the outside, it certainly does look like a Highlander, and you would only notice the difference in the numbers. So the wheelbase is 116.1 inches long. That's 3.9 inches longer than the standard Highlander. It's also 4 inches longer than the longest Highlander, the XSE. It's 2.3 inches wider and 2 inches taller at the tallest point. Interestingly though, it is still smaller than the Sequoia. It's about 6.7 inches shorter and 4.4 inches lower at the roofline. So at the front you get this massive grille, typical with the Toyota Highlander, a huge badge at the front, also these LED lights on either side. It's really difficult to tell that you're being followed by a Grand Highlander in your rear view mirror. It is almost identical. So this limited trim gets these multi-spoke 20-inch wheels. It's wearing 255/55 Continental all seasons all around. There's a pretty good tire. And then at the back, you get twin exhausts. And since this one is a Hybrid Max, you get the Hybrid Max badge right here. And then Grand Highlander in body color on the back tailgate. It also says Grand Highlander on the door sills and on the mats. So there are three powertrain options on the Grand Highlander. This one is the Hybrid Max. So 265 horsepower, 4-cylinder turbo, an electric motor sandwiched between the engine and the transmission, and then a second one that sits on the rear axle because this is the all-wheel drive model. Combined, you get 362 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque, which is more power and torque than the Jeep Grand Cherokee L with the 5.7-liter Hemi. Tread lightly, you'll get about 27 miles per gallon. Tread not so lightly and you'll get from 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. Now, there's a gas-only option. That's a 4-cylinder engine that sits in here, so it's got the same 265 horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque. And then there's a third option, which is the standard hybrid, 187 horsepower, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, and then an electric motor on top of that. Combined, it'll give you 245 horsepower. Standard on this one is a powered tailgate, revealing the Grand in Grand Highlander, which gives you 21 cubic feet behind these rear seats. There's also a little bit of a cubby space there, and your luggage cover stays under there. If you put these seats down, the third row, you get 58 cubic feet of space. If you put all the seats down, these in the captain's chairs, you get 98 cubic feet of space. And that is 10 cubic feet better than all its competition. Weirdly, the Sequoia, which is a much bigger vehicle, if you drop the third row on that car, you only get 48 cubic feet. And then if you drop all of them on the Sequoia, you only get 87 cubic feet. So this has got a ton of room. So putting the seats down is pretty straightforward. Just pull on this little handle right here, drop them down, pull on this handle right here, drop them down. Tons of space. Simply grab this to pull it back up again. Pull on there. Same thing on this side. Done. So I have to let you know that this car is actually a pre-production model, so not everything is finished. It's got this weird sort of scratchy surface on some of this plastic area, but for the most part, it's pretty close to what a production car will be without a couple of bells and whistles. Now, this seat's quite far back, but I've got a decent amount of room. I also got headroom. Also got a nice couple of cup holders right here. Outboard passengers get a USB, plus your own air vents and a little light. And then there is room for three. It's not exactly the most comfortable, but I could go a short journey in this middle seat if I had to. Even better, in the second row, you get these really comfortable seats. Each one gets an armrest. You get your own little sunshade, ventilation, and a light. Nice little deep pockets to throw stuff into as well. And a center console with some nice room for storing stuff. You can put an iPad in there. You also get your own HVAC controls here with heated seats. Can't fault this, it's very spacious. So how much is this Grand Highlander? Well, this is estimated pricing because this is a pre-prod model, but it's approximately $54,000 for this limited hybrid max. It's got about $2,400 worth of options, a big sunroof, a 360 surround camera system as well, taking the overall price to $57,000. So in the front, you get a lot of space too. This car is all about a lot of space. These seats are really comfortable, super soft. Again, we've got this little grippy material section in the middle. Very big center console, but I got enough room for my legs here. Steering wheel is nice, a lot of controls on the steering wheel. Very nice place to be. You do get on this limited model the memory seats. These are all 8-way power, both sides, height adjustment, etc. So the passenger does not get left out on this particular car. So you get two 12.3-inch display screens, one in front of the driver and then another one right here in the center stack. This one comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you can see all of the Grand Highlander surroundings with the optional 360-degree camera, which is this button right here. I really like this feature. Checking surroundings all the way around the car, and it should do an overhead view as well. So this is fairly easy to use. You got your music, you got your phone, you got your car settings, and then settings to set up, you know, what driver you are, etc., etc. So below the main screen there, you get some really nice physical controls. Yay! Heated and cooled seats on this one, defrost, many different ways to change the temperature, and then your control for rear climate, 2 vents and your hazard right there. Below that, you got that view that I just showed you for the camera, USB, another one right there, and then there's your stop-start. I also really like the fact that you get a USB ahead of the passenger, including this really nice cubby here. And then also on the passenger side, you get this additional little space. You could put a phone in there. It doesn't go all the way through, but there's definitely room for maybe even another wireless charging pad. So speaking of wireless charging pads, it's right there. So you just put your phone in there. Works pretty good. Just to get 3 generous cup holders, and you get a Toyota Prius shifter. Now, as I said earlier, this is a all-wheel drive vehicle, so you can go mud, sand, rock, dirt, go back to normal, eco mode, sport mode. It's pretty quick in sport mode. There's a snow mode over here, and then your hill descent control. I particularly like the center armrest because the opener here, even though it's not very wide, it means that you can rest your arm on it even when that's open. And then if you go ahead and slide that open, this thing is so deep I think it goes to China, and then you get this removable little tray here for other stuff. Really nice. So ahead of the driver, you get your EV information. This one here shows you how the 4-cylinder turbo is sending power to the electric motors, if the electric motors are working, and then this is your battery. You don't need to plug this in because you can't. Got 279 miles of range. All this information will display any of your lane keep assist information, etc. And then this is my average 21.6 miles to the gallon. I've been driving pretty fast, so I'm kind of impressed with that. So yeah, I'm kind of impressed with the interior. There's a few bits of pre-production, not quite as good as it should be. It doesn't feel luxurious. I think the Korean twins, the Hyundai and the Kia, have a slightly more luxurious interior, but I've yet to see a production model. Could be a little better. And this sort of treatment right here, it doesn't look great. Not the best design. It's a little bit austere in here because everything seems to be black. But having said that, it's a Toyota. It's solid. It shouldn't fall apart. Anyway, enough talking about the interior. Let's go ahead and take this for a drive. So I'm going to go into D and then hit the sport button, because why not? Now the display shows me sport. So let's get going. It's not too warm today, so it's kind of nice. All right, so off we go. Whoa, hang on to the wheel. 60. Wow. Wow. it's got some power. Now, straight line acceleration, yes, it's fast. In the turns, no. It does roll quite a bit. You know, it feels like the wheels are in one zip code and the roof is in another. But it's quite controlled. And you can make up for any high-speed cornering losses by mashing the power pedal in the straights and catching up. But I mean, we're taking this bend fairly quickly. We're rolling. It's like being on the ocean on a cruise liner, but a very fast cruise liner. And interestingly, the 6-speed, there's no gaps in it. I mean, it doesn't need an 8-speed for that reason. There's so much torque in this car. I also like how it sounds, because normally a 4-cylinder turbo can sound a little funny. The Tundra has the Hybrid Max system with the 6-cylinder, and that sounds creamy smooth. This is also super smooth. Now, what don't I like about it? Well, the brakes require a really hard amount of push to get them to work, which on a heavy 3-row SUV that's as quick as this is slightly concerning. Anyway, we're powering around here, and this is pretty funny. Yeah, and this is like driving a 5.7 liter Hemi Grand Cherokee. It's just got acres of torque. Now the ride is pretty cushy too, which is again why we're rolling around in the corners, but it doesn't mean that you can't have a little bit of fun. Obviously the steering is just, there's no feedback whatsoever from the steering. It's telling me nothing. I mean, you can hear how smooth that engine is, and the transmission, you're going between electric motors and gas. It's just seamless. It's so smooth. Now we're going downhill now, so we're giving the battery some well-needed extra juice that it's going to need. And then speaking of that rear electric motor, of course, there's no drive shaft to it. It just does its thing through electronics. So that's quite helpful when it comes to more space too. There's no drive shaft to have to accommodate for that rear-wheel drive. Okay, stick your foot down. Wow. Okay, and then really, really hit the brakes. They're progressive and they work. They're just requiring a lot more shove than I would really like. But then power out of the corner, hold on to the wheel. It bucks around a little bit. But I'm kind of impressed that you can get a decent move on in a car of this size that isn't tuned for sport. You know, I mean, I've driven a Durango SRT, and that would take these corners better than this. Same with the Grand Cherokee. Here's a big dip in the road. Suspension's nice and soft, soaks it up. Steering requires quite a lot of inputs, even for mild turns. Now I am kind of excited about taking it off-road. I mean, we've got road tires, but we will take it off-road and check out this mud, sand, rock, hill descent stuff and see how it does. Okay, so we're at a dirt trail, and seeing as it has a mud and sand mode, let's give it a go. All right. Suspension's pretty smooth on regular pavement. some of this is washboardy and a little rougher than that, so we'll see how it goes. So obviously putting it into mud and sand versus rock and dirt, I'm not quite sure what the difference is there, but there's rocks as well, so I don't know, I'll just pick one and go with it. A lot of the collision systems turn off, traction control, etc. A little rough on this washboard surface here, but let's see how it goes. The road gets a little narrower here as well. Luckily there is no oncoming traffic on this section. Still a little bit of water flowing. All right, so here we are at the first little test hill. It's kind of short, quite rocky, and I'm slightly concerned about the ground clearance and the fact that this has a 116-inch wheelbase. So let's carefully give it a go. So, yeah, we're in mud and sand. I don't have any other options here. That's all I got. So let's see what happens here. Let's see. Oh, we got the camera on here, which is kind of cool. Gently does it. A little bit of gas. I'm going slow to test out how well the all-wheel drive system works. It's slipping a little bit, but it's compensating by giving me power on the wheel that has some grip. And my goodness, little bit of a slip there, but my goodness, that was good. I remember a couple of other vehicles that we had where we did that going slowly on purpose, and they struggled. So going down will be a little bit different. Let's see if we can activate the hill descent control. Let's see whether we can control this descent here. All right, hill descent control's on, but I'm having to use the brake. That's weird. It's beeping at me. A little bit of slippage at the back. A couple of warnings, we're really close to the bumper at the front. Piece of cake. Maybe we should try something a little bit more difficult. Let's go back this way. All right, so we're still in, let's go to rock and dirt now. It's more rocky. Let's switch gears here and go to rock and dirt. Let's see how we do, because this is a bit of a rocky section here. Rock and dirt. All right. I want to take it easy because I only have street tires. All right, here we go. Bit of a thunk there. A little bit of slippage from the lots of beeps from the system here. It's a pretty good camera, that. Also got the overhead camera as well, which helps with seeing what's going on. Okay, this is a pretty big rock here, and ooh. We lost grip there for a second, but the Grand Highlander is up. All right, let's turn around and go back down this same hill. I'm not going to go to the really steep bit because that's got some serious ruts in it, and I don't think I got the clearance or the tires for that. And I don't want to get stuck today. Alright, so going back down the same bit, still in dirt and rock mode. We got a bit of a front overhang. A lot of beeping. A little easier to see going downhill. I think that's that rock that I got hooked up on slightly. But we're doing all right. All right, there's this other drop here. A little bit of a clunk there. Slipping a little bit, but just ease it down a little. Hill descent control is working, controlling the rate of descent. All right, we're down. Okay. Well, good job, Toyota. The Grand Highlander is very spacious. The Max Hybrid is very quick. And it's also pretty decent off-road. So what do we think? Is the Grand Highlander Hybrid Max better than the Kia Hyundai Palisade Telluride twins? I think so. 400 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. It's got more space than both of them and is a little better on fuel economy. It's a little expensive, $57,000. But I would definitely take this over those two. The power is just intoxicating. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video.